Hey, this is Simon from the Brackets here at South OC Cars and Coffee, and wow, what a turnout today. You know, it's a little bit overcast, but it has not kept the cars away. We've got some pretty impressive stuff here today, so let's swing the camera around and have a look. Check out the crowd, it's absolutely huge. One of our biggest days ever. Really, really cool turnout of people here. And as I said, some really impressive cars as well, so let's kick it off and have a bit of a walk around. So we got my Camaro, then we have James's, then we have a car that to date is still my favourite car that's ever come to South OC Cars and Coffee. This is Bob's incredible 55 Chev. This thing is all motor, over 1,000 horsepower, just motor, no forced induction or nitrous oxide. Absolutely incredible car. 632 cubic inch dark block, just beautiful, so well set up. Got the beadlock drag wheels on the back and some serious rubber. This was a car of the week. Probably about a year ago now, but just such a great looking car. Carbon fibre hood, tough as tough can be. Okay, next to it, a very anticipated vehicle. This is Pete's brand new GT3 in agate grey. He picked it up on Thursday. He's been waiting for this for a while. It's a 6-speed manual. It's the 991 Series 2. Beautiful looking car. That agate grey is just really suits the car. Next to it, Tony's GT3, also the 6-speed manual in the silver. A couple of great looking cars. Next to it, a real Porsche icon, of course. This is the Carrera GT. Absolutely amazing supercar. The Porsche's real true, I guess, first supercar. Unfortunately, it got the reputation of being a bit of a widowmaker, and this, of course, is what Paul Walker lost his life in, was one of these. But an incredible piece of engineering. Really cool the way they kept those very distinctive Porsche lines and made it into this, morphed it into this incredible mid-engine car. So that very, iconic Porsche front end you can see there. So that's the Carrera GT. Next to it, we've got a Lamborghini. Looks really great in this white colour, Spider. Next to it, a 720S in that really nice papaya orange. Looks gorgeous. A Audi R8 in a V10, another R8 next to it. Next to it, a really classic Mercedes. We've seen this car here before. Really, really beautiful looking car. Just beautiful color combo. Really nice interior as well. Just such a incredible piece of motoring history here. Really great looking car. So timeless and elegant. Next to it, Jay's iconic Ford GT, David's beautiful Ferrari, another McLaren, great looking car. Next to it, a classic Roadster that we've seen at many of the Cars and Coffee. This thing has got race history. It's it's a very cool looking car, very iconic, running a Ford V8. So this was a Bonneville car, obviously designed for the salt flats, but very, very cool. Big history. Interesting, it's actually got numbers written on the valve cover. 380 horsepower, 8,200 RPM. 302 Ford. How cool is that? Very cool. Next to it, another McLaren. Unusual colour, that metallic red looks great. Jeff's little E-Type Jag, so great to see. Another Porsche. The Superformance guys have got their two excellent looking Corvettes. Great cars. If you're after the perfect car to go out and do autocross, these things are incredible. Then a row of Porsches, great to see. And just before we do that, we've got a row of some guys leaving, and we've got some Mopar here. So a Dodge Demon first of all. So of course the Demon, listen to that thing, sounds great. Another Challenger, followed by a Charger, followed by another Challenger, another Hellcat, and then we've got a Gen 6 Camaro, and then behind that looks like another Challenger, Gen 5 Camaro, and then Corvette, then a Mustang. So we'll get back to the Porsche row here. Always great to have these guys out. And then great looking little speedster here, isn't that gorgeous? Next to it, this Maserati running a serious fin on the back of the thing, carbon fibre wing on the back of it. Beautiful interiors at Maseratis. They just know how to do those leather interiors so well. Some more of the Porsche, a Viper, another Porsche, Ferrari, another Viper, and then a Camaro we featured before with an LS2 in it. I think it is 68, running this LS engine, and it all set up for autocross, CVM performance, throttle body on it, some serious rubber on the back, suspension and brakes. Really well set up car. Moving right along, we go to a Triumph TR6, a Volkswagen bus, another little Triumph next to it that we pulled up on that. There's twin Stromberg carburetors on that thing. Very cool. I thought they came out with SUs, so they might have been swapped over. Great little Alfa Romeo we've seen here before. Somebody's got their camper bus in here. Another Volkswagen bus, really nice. One of our regulars in this GTM XR5, I think it is. XRS, sorry. Really cool looking Bronco.
Thanks, buddy.
Porsche, Volkswagen, another Bronco, and then a couple of Beetles side by side. Beautiful condition, these cars. Look at them. Very, very cool. Look at this one here. Look at this great looking toolkit in the front spare wheel, which is awesome. And this is actually an oval window. They both are oval windows actually, which is obviously a real collector's item. The very first Beetles, of course, had no back window, and then they went to a split back window and then the oval window. Rolls-Royce. And then we got a row of Holdens along here. We looked at these last week, got a few extras this week. So this one running the LSA supercharger on it. Of course, that's the same supercharger they used in the Camaro, Gen 5 Camaro, in the ZL1, and also the CTS-V Cadillac next to it. Great looking. Now look, Holden center caps. We're going to talk about Holden center caps in a minute, because Dane, of course, we looked at last week. We gave Dane a hard time last week because Dane had Chevrolet center caps, and now Dane has seen the light and come to his senses, and he's actually put some Holden center caps. He's over here.
Simon, he's over here.
Oh, he's over here.
He's running from you.
He's running away from me. You can run, but you can't hide, Dane. So the moral of the story is, be like Dane. We got to get t-shirts printed up with that. Be like Dane. Another one of the Chevy SS. Looks so much better with those Holden center caps. If only he'd tint them to match the actual rest of the wheel, but still, we are used to compromise from Dane. Okay, moving along, we got Pontiac G8. Of course, that was a Holden VE Commodore. Really pretty looking Ferrari here. And then onto this project car from one of the local schools, running a small block Chev with a V-drive mounted in the back of the van. So absolutely incredible piece of kit. This thing, I can imagine, hard to keep the front wheels on the ground. Now, as I'm talking about special things, this man over here, Jay Philibar, is one of our photographers, and I think I hear Robert behind me. Did I?
Yes.
Right behind me, and here's Robert. These are the two guys that are responsible for all of our incredible photography. So get over here next to this man, Robert. So on behalf of everybody who comes to Cars and Coffee, you guys are awesome, and we appreciate you so much. So you do incredible photography, and we really appreciate you. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. That's exactly right. Now, on to, we've got a bit of a local celebrity that joins us quite frequently. Dallas Rains, of course, our famous SoCal meteorologist. This is his Pantera. So if we're walking around, if we can catch up with Dallas, we'll have a bit of a chat with him. Next to it, very, very cool looking Buick 8. Great looking thing. Love the way the hood lifts up sideways. Now, it's not your average V8, because it's not a V8, it's a straight 8. See that? Inline. Very cool. Very, very cool looking car. That's great. Check it out. That's awesome. Next to it, we've got a couple of El Caminos. Looking really cool.
Better believe it.
Well, exactly. This is Paul's El Camino. This is running a 454 big block. The one next to it is running an LS transplant. Both a different way of going about the same thing, but both two very cool looking vehicles. Paul, are you still looking to sell your El Camino? Possibly. So if the price is right,
price is right.
Okay. If you're interested, come and just send us a message through the through Facebook or through our website, and we'll point you in the direction of Paul. But very neat looking car. Look at the shine on the hood of this thing. It's insane. Really beautifully done. So thanks for joining us, Paul. Okay, moving along. Ford truck, one of our regulars next to it. This is interesting. Check this out. What a great looking little car. So running a set of twin SUs over here. Wow. So this is an Israeli car, Auto Cars Company Limited. I could be wrong, but I think that looks like a British Leyland engine from a Ford console engine, is it? Interesting. The intake and everything's out of a Ford console as well?
I don't know that.
You don't know? The SUs are certainly, a British sort of icon, but very cool. And this is your vehicle? No? You just happen to know about it?
Yeah, my friend owns it.
Your friend owns it. Very cool. And it was an Israeli vehicle, is it? Built from Israel? England. It's interesting because it says Israel written on the side of it, which is interesting. Sabre. Very cool looking car. Really nice looking interior. Really interesting. Auto Cars Company Limited, Israel. So who knows? What do you think, Bob?
I like it.
It's cool, isn't it?
Very appealing, yeah.
Very cool. And moving on, we've got a Mustang. We've got another Mustang. All the Mustangs lined up again this morning. We move through here. Roberts, of course. Very cool looking 34. Look at that grille, that iconic 34 grille. Another Mustang here and another one here, GT500, running a supercharger. Another one over this side, and then as we come around to this side, we've got Mercedes. Really cool. Love those matching hubcaps in that car. Looking great. 57 Chev. That beautiful twin air cleaners on that thing. Really nice looking Corvette actually for sale. 65 Riviera. 280Z Datsun Mustang 289, and a Rambler America. We've looked at this car before. Very cool. Beautiful looking, nice little MG driving out by the way. Let's catch a glimpse of that MGB. Great looking GTO. We saw this pull in as well. Love this colour scheme. Looks incredible. Got some modern buckets in it, which look kind of cool. But just in a great looking colour, great looking interior, and running a looks like a small block on it. Very cool. Porsche. Another Mustang with 289, coming up to a 69 Camaro running a small block 350. Check this out, the old slant 2256 in this Mopar. How cool is that? Very awesome. Very awesome. Little Evo. And then moving up through here, a GT350. Love that grey. It really suits it. Really suits it. And then moving along, we've got a Corvette. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Couple of Corvettes. Stingray, Miata, and then a couple more of the Volkswagen buses, and then a Thing, Porsche, another little Porsche 914, Corvette, and then a Ranchero up there. And then over across to this side, a Cobra replica. Cool looking old hot rod. Looks like a truck or a tractor grill in the front of that. Whose grill and logo is that? I don't know, but it looks like International Harvester maybe. Great looking truck grill in it. Small block Chev blower. Very cool. Viper. And moving right along, a little Lotus. This is kind of cool. Look at the old hot rod here. All blacked out, mirrored it out. Very cool. Very cool. Next to it, another El Camino 283 small block. Really nice looking Bronco as well. Very cool. It's an interesting car. We're going to come back on the other line and have a look at. '56 Chevy, and then a couple of Corvette, row of Corvettes actually. We've got a couple of Z06s and 3 Z06s in a row. Gen 5 Camaro, Coca-Cola on the rear quarter panel. You shouldn't put drinks on your cars, people, especially Coca-Cola. A Challenger, the Mitsubishi, Ford, a couple of Fords in a row. 3, Chevy 2, all the regulars. Good morning, guys. How are you all this morning?
Great. Thanks for everything.
My pleasure. Good to see you all. And a Viper, and then this is kind of interesting. In front of this this Jaguar, we've got a supercharger cut open with how a supercharger works. Obviously, you'd normally bolt the intake onto this or the carb onto this, and then the bottom of it would bolt onto the intake. And as it turns, you can see that the rotors actually, bring the camera up, the rotors actually compress the air together, and that's what forces the air down into the engine. So that's a Roots style supercharger. Very similar to that is the twin screw, different impeller shape in a twin screw. That's what I've got on my my Camaro, the Whipple. But same principle. Mercedes, a little Abarth, a Corvette, 3 Corvettes actually in a row. And then moving right along, we've got a little Carrera next to a very nice looking Corvette running a 427 big block, 390 horsepower. Such an iconic car. Isn't that beautiful? Really, really nice. Love it. AMG, a couple more Corvettes. Great looking BMW 2000. Love that grey, it just suits it so well. Stingray, Jaguar with a V8 transplant in it. Another El Camino running a big block. Very cool looking Chevelle. Nova. Couple of more Stingrays here, the new C7, Nissan, Audi, Acura NSX, great looking BMW. This thing, great stance on this thing. My wife actually was out shopping the other day, and she sent a photo of this to James and myself, going, check out how low this thing looks, how cool it is. And we both went, we know that car, it's a regular here, so looks so cool, really, really cool. And I think that colour, this may be a wrap, or is it the real deal? No, it's painted. It's Laguna Seca blue, I believe. That's what it's called. Looks great. Porsche, another Porsche, another one, GT3 RS. Oh, now check this out. This is some serious induction in this thing. The intake in that small block. Mustang, Land Cruiser, the real Land Cruiser, FJ40, I think that is. Chev. Great old Rambler, check that thing out. Isn't that cool? You can just picture your typical American family, middle class family, going for a picnic in that thing. Back in the, I guess it's the late 50s. Okay, this is cool. We saw this the other day. This is Corvair, but it's not your average Corvair, because these things were known for not being particularly fast and known for being handling terribly. They changed a lot of the existing laws, automotive building laws, were changed because of this particular vehicle. They had a tendency of either bursting into flame if they were rear-ended, I believe, or also flipping ends. This particular one, look at that race fuel cell in it, obviously set up for racing. In the back, that is that's the famous Corvair engine, but it looks anything but stock. It's running quad carburetors on it, which look like Strombergs to me. Yeah. No, Rochesters. They're Rochesters. So quad Rochester carbs. Just crazy. Really excellent attention to detail in it. Very cool. Interesting. There's a PSI gauge there. I take it that's fuel pressure, I'm guessing, but just the way it's all been done. There's a fuel filter in the back here. Really, really neatly done. There are people that would not look at a Corvair and take it seriously as a car that you want to invest in and do work to. This thing catches everybody's eyes when it comes in. Look at Yenko on the side of it, so it's obviously something that was done from Yenko themselves, which is, they were the holy grail of GM products. Now, we'll let this, there was our car of the week about 3 weeks ago, that beautiful Roadrunner Superbird. How cool is that thing? Very cool. Go back to our website and check out the previous car of the week if you want to see that. So there we have it. That's that very cool Corvair by Yenko. Some Mercedes in a row. Volkswagen, a couple of those lined up. Cool looking wheels on them. Corvette, bit of custom work being done to that. Little BMW. And at the end we've got a Cobra replica. Over the other side, a Cougar. The old tramp rods underneath. You don't see a lot of these on cars anymore. Back in the 70s and 80s, this is what guys would do to stock axle hop. You see that under there, that bar? It could get bolted basically back to the diff,
and then there's a rubber stopper on it here, which would hit up against the plate, or at either a plate or the front of the leaf spring. So what would happen is it would, as soon as you took off, it would twist up and stop the diff from the springs from loading up any further, and then the axle hop that went with it. Very custom thing that guys would do in the 70s or the 80s, you know. So very cool. Little Nissan Cadillac, cool looking army truck, anything but small, looking great. Cool looking bulldog here walking around. What's your name, dude? Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. What's your favourite car? No, we don't have any Mack trucks here, I'm sorry. You found the closest thing to it though. Volkswagen, cool looking Chevy truck. Another beautiful 65 Riv we've seen before. Maserati, unusual, see those around. Corvette, Mercedes. And then moving along, got a classic old Jeep. And then a Tacoma that's been kitted out. There's a few of these. The Rebel guys, of course, had all those great Jeeps here with us a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks we made them car of the week. Little Ford last week actually. So, Ford, Honda, another Focus. Beautiful little Datsun 240Z. Great looking Pontiac. This Chevy truck we looked at the other week with that amazing welding that's going on underneath. It's like what they call weld porn. Great looking Ford truck. Bronco with some serious suspension work underneath it. Great looking old Jaguar. Look at the silver and sort of red colour scheme on that thing. Very classic looking Jag. Trans Am, that ram air hood on that thing. As we come around here, we've got Ford truck, and then Infiniti, a couple of BMWs. Great looking Bronco. Cowl induction on that thing was good, didn't it? Beautiful little Austin Healey 3000 Mark III. Check that out. Love those wire wheels on it. It's beautiful. Classic lines. A CDSV Cadillac, a Regal, Buick Regal. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mustang, and then jumping across the other side. Got some interesting things over this side. Little MR2. We'll look at this guy in a minute. So down there, a little BMW convertible. And next to it a Cadillac. Little MR2, they were an interesting car. They're actually a mid-engine car. Toyota did a couple of these. The engine actually, it sits in a east-west configuration under that cover there. Great little handling car, really ahead of their time for Toyota. The only downside of this car is because of that mid-engine, they had a tiny gas tank in them, so they didn't have a lot of range in them. But they were certainly a great little handling car. Really ahead of their time. Cool looking Thunderbird. Next to a really nice looking Mustang convertible. Another Mustang here, another Mustang, and another one C7 Corvette. A Lexus. Next to it a little Saturn, I think that is. Miata. Honda. Cool looking Beetle. Cayenne GTS. Miata. Lexus, looks good in that grey. Rivero, which of course was the Karma Fisker, the rebirth of that. Mustang. Cool looking 38 Chev Coupe. How cool is this thing? Great looking thing. You can imagine this thing running moonshine, can't you? Back in the day. Very cool. Very cool. California, love this thing. California Timing Association, very cool. A couple of Corvettes here, 3, 4, 5 of them along here. Maserati, Corvette, a couple of Jeeps. Of course, there's Jeffrey's guy from Rouse Audio. Most incredible sounding car audio you're ever going to hear. They utilise a lot of the electronics that are in the car, so it doesn't look aftermarket. They don't go and put massive subwoofers, but they get the most incredible sound. Lexus, Porsche, Subaru, another Porsche, another one, Sora. Look at the metallic flake in that little bug, that's very cool. 34, Great looking, looks like a 56 F100. 56 of course had the wraparound windshield, the 55 was a straight windshield on that. Oh, look at the old Mini Woody here. That's kind of cool. So somebody's done a lot of work to this thing, little wooden surfboard and everything on that. Interestingly, they've actually different engine in it, but they actually moved the radiator to a place that'll actually work. Notice the radiators here. Mini radiators used to be over on the side here. The original engine, and they used to put the distributor right at the front, which is all well and good, except in England where they used to drive in the rain, and all of a sudden the ignition system's not working because it's all wet. So it's kind of cool. Next to it, cool looking 32 little Roadster, which looks awesome, and they look great. Really nice looking GTO. Next to another Porsche. Swinging around, a couple more rows to go. A couple of Corvettes. Got the boys with their lifted trucks again this week. Silverado. Another one with a great big light bar and some spotlights on the front. Cool looking Chevy truck. Great looking Mercury. Posing lines on that thing. Mustang. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were a viewer of the show Fast and Furious, this is not called NOS. It's called nitrous oxide. Fast and Furious ruined that for the world. And by the way, Japanese import cars don't all have 15 gears. Okay, that's fallacy. Okay. Interesting little Z car next to it, Miata. Really nice looking El Camino. Another nice looking Bronco. Two of them side by side, yellow one and a red one.
Hey Simon.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Well.
Welcome. Having a good day?
Yes.
Excellent. Mercedes, what a classic convertible this one is. Another Bronco, lots of Broncos this morning, how cool. Another Corvette. Okay, another car that we've featured previously in our Car of the Week. This thing is as tough as it gets. I mentioned before that Bob's car was one of my favourite cars we've ever had here. That was the 55 Chev running that 632 Dart. It was over 1,000 horsepower, all engine. This is from another school. This is a twin turbo Mustang. This thing is same sort of horsepower as Bob's car, maybe even a little bit more, but really, really well set up. Running some awesome world racing wheels, particularly like the bead lock. That's what I'm going to go for on the back of my Camaro. Just something to stop the actual tyre from spinning on the rim. Removable steering wheel. Just such a well set up car. Beautiful carbon fibre hood. This thing means business. You know, we get all the guys here in their exotics, great cars, but this thing, quarter mile, would take any of them on. All those people out there watching with their Teslas going, I'd take it on. Yeah, I don't think so. This thing's probably running 8s, I would suggest. Very cool. Lamborghini, a little Volkswagen, one of the earlier little Golfs, of course, the first of those little hot hatches. Little Morris Minor 1000, Woody, what a great looking little car. Check that out. That little 3 on the, no, it's actually a 4-speed in this one, which is kind of cool. Very simplistic dash, great looking little thing. How cool. And another little Volkswagen here. Subaru Outback. And then little STI, Volkswagen, Mercedes, 240Z. Great looking Skyline here, this RB26. Check that out. These things were absolute game changers in the aftermarket world. In fact, not even in the aftermarket world, even in the performance world, when other cars were struggling to get their power to the ground and struggling to build horsepower because of things like unleaded gas, these things came along and changed the perspective on what could be big horsepower. So the GTRs there, unfortunately here in the US, they weren't letting them being brought in, but of course guys will, as they have here, bring them in from overseas themselves. Still right-hand drive, but absolutely killer. Big horsepower. Very cool. Thanks for bringing them out, guys. It's very cool. Porsche, really nice looking black, 997. Another Skyline there. Toyota Supra, Mustang, one of our regulars. Great looking GMC truck, isn't that neat? Really clean, beautiful lines, great black paintwork on it. Lexus, Tesla, the first Teslas before, when they were basing them on a Lotus. This was what Tesla were doing. F-150 been lifted, little Datsun 1600 pickup. How cool. Great looking little truck, mate. Very cool. Very cool. Little Mitsubishi, Miata. Coming out the other side, we've got a Toyota Tacoma, and then a little Ford sitting there, and then an Acura, Audi, unusual purple on this thing. Porsche, a Mustang, another Porsche, another little Porsche 914, Hyundai, a Golf, another little Carrera, Volvo for sale, Plonks at Now Show. Really welcome to do it just like that. A Porsche, really nice looking Lambo, Toyota 86, Volkswagen, Volksy R32, which is cool, Mustang, Ferrari, little sprinkler rain coming at the moment, so hopefully it'll hold off till we're done. Another little Golf, Honda, another Honda, great little car those Civics, Outback. Okay, this is worth spending some time on having a look at. This is a Morgan, just incredible piece of engineering. Still using a wooden frame in these things. So is the owner of this car here? That's you? Please don't go away. I think I'm going to make this my car of the week. Okay, so don't leave us. This is really, really interesting. Really interesting looking car. I won't talk about it too much now. We'll come back and do it in car of the week. So thank you for bringing it. Okay, Porsche, a Nissan, little Datsun, Corvette, a Mercedes M3, beautiful looking Corvette in that gold colour, another Porsche, and then Miata, and then another Porsche, another one, 944, great looking car, Tacoma, another 944, 911, Mustang, beautiful looking McLaren. Isn't this lovely? So this is a 570S, great looking car, next to another Corvette. And the final row at the end, we've got a Corvette, Mercedes, Mustang, really nice looking Jaguar, Mustang, Charger, another Charger, old Ford Ranger, Silverado, bit of a survivor here. This old Bronco looks cool, rusty hood, GT350, two of them in a row. One of our regulars, this little Sprinter down here, check that out. So is the little Fairlady next to it, which is cool. Mustang, AMG, another Mustang, a couple of Gen 6 Camaros side by side, both SS's. Porsche, little Fiat, not the Abarth in this case, just the Fiat 500, still a cute little car. Another Gen 5 Camaro this time. Beautiful looking Chevy. How cool is this thing? Big old Bel Air. Very cool. Very, very cool looking car. Just love the twin tail lights in the back of this thing. Looks great. Is this your car?
Oh,
No?
I wish.
You wish it was your car?
Oh,
I think it's a 58, but I could be wrong. Because the 59 of course had the teardrop tail lights, and this has got the twin tail lights. So of course you can always tell by reading the year and the tail lights. Did you know that with a Chevy?
Yeah.
So very cool. Chevy SS, the two of them side by side. That's what we were looking at before with the Holden badges on it. Another Volkswagen, another little Miata, Honda, onto a AMG, Jeep, a Oldsmobile, great looking C10. Interesting, inline six, not the V8, which is kind of cool.
Straight six, kept it original.
Yeah, good for you. And how many cubic inch were these? Do you know, off the top of your head?
This is 250.
250, yeah. Very cool. Yeah, good for you for keeping it. And it's it's a 4-barrel on it. So I'm taking you're running like a something like a 500 or a
Yeah, it's 500 CFM.
yeah, very cool. Nicely done. Cool. And this is that Hugger Orange?
It is.
Yeah.
It's the Chevy Red Orange actually.
Chevy Red Orange. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Thanks for bringing it out. Little Focus, little Nissan. That's interesting. Piece of art there.
Yep.
Made out of corks. Huh. And then I think we're coming down the end, great big H2, and then a Z28. Love this car. Of course, this was the last car in Chevrolet's world to use that amazing LS7 427 naturally aspirated motor. This will become a collector's item. There are a lot of things about the Z28 that separated it from the standard Gen 5 Camaro at the time. Everything from the carbon brakes through to the aero on it. It had like carbon fiber aero, but even down to the attention to detail of the fact that the back glass is thinner to cut weight. I say this is the last car in the US to use the 427 because Holden, we talked before about those the what was the Holden Commodore rebadged as the Chevy SS. They have done Holden's last hurrah before they closed the factory. Their HSV, Holden Special Vehicles Factory, did a Holden Commodore with this same 427. So that's theoretically the last time those cars are using engines are being used in a production car. International Scout, very cool. And the last car along here is a great looking Corvette Z06. Okay, now to the motorcycles. This is kind of cool. Moto Guzzi. I'm a big fan of these. It's just so cool. One of the sort of pinnacles of Italian motorcycles. Great lines, really classic. Next to it, awesome looking chopper. Star. So Yamaha, of course. Suzuki. Great looking Triumph, really nice. Another Triumph next to it. Good bikes, good bikes, guys. Next to it, a Honda 754. That's a classic motorcycle. Another Moto Guzzi here. This one a Le Mans, and then a Harley Davidson, and another one really chopped down, which is kind of cool. Look at this, all been chopped down really simplistically. Looks great. And then finally, another Yamaha up here. So we're back at South OC Cars and Coffee with Dallas Rain.
Thank you, Simon. Nice to be here.
Oh, mate, it's great to have you here. You've become one of our regulars.
Well, you know, I love it here. I've got a little place. And, you know, there's thing about this, Simon, I love the weather here.
Well, exactly. So for those of you, and particularly overseas, who don't know who Dallas is, he's one of our, in fact, he is the local meteorologist, correct?
Let's do my 11 o'clock tease, you and I together, ready? So get your hand to fist bump and say tonight at 11.
Tonight at 11. There we go. I'm out of
I like
time.
the Australian accent.
So Dallas, what brings you to our show as a regular?
Well, Simon, it's the best. I think this is one of the best shows ever. We've got great guys, great cars, great gals. And I love to bring my Pantera.
Yeah, Dallas has a spectacular Pantera
it's a
here.
Beautiful car.
Looking red Pantera. It's just.
But you do such a great job, Simon. I mean, it's so well organized. And one thing I really love about it, and it's on camera, is I like that it doesn't start at Oak Darkville.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, some of these guys, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and by 6:30 everybody's gone. So I can't get up that early doing the late night news.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we originally did the show from 7 till 9, and then not only did we have complaints from the neighbours, but quite frankly, I was sick of being here at 5:30 saying to people, stop coming so early.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we can actually come along at a decent hour. People can go over to Ruby's and have breakfast. But I think the thing I really love the most, this hour is more conducive to families, and we get a lot more kids in
a
here.
lot of young kids coming around, and we want to introduce them to fun cars.
Yep.
Be part of our car culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So, mate, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Simon. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, and we'll see you back here next week for another South OC Cars and Coffee.
See you next time.